The Lost Mantle of Elijah, an audiobook adventure by Lewis Critchley, narrated by Hugo Weaving, for those who dare to believe the impossible. Introduction. In a time of mystery and magic, myth becomes reality. Join us for an epic journey of courage, sacrifice, and redemption that will illuminate the power of faith against all odds. The adventure begins. Chapter 1. The tale opens on a doomed pirate ship. The day had started like any other for me, Baxter the pirate, sailing the endless azure seas in search of plunder and adventure. But little did I know that before sunset, I would find myself tangled in a mystery that would shake the foundations of heaven and earth. As my ship, the Midnight Raven, navigated through thick fog, I stood at the prow scanning the misty horizon. The creaking of weathered floorboards and flap of tattered sails were the only sounds piercing the eerie silence. "Captain!" called my first mate Jasper in alarm. Rushing to his side, I saw his wide eyes fixed on a ghostly vessel materializing out of the fog before us. She was a battered old galley, sailing straight toward the massive whirlpool known as the Abyss of Absalom. My blood turned to ice in my veins. "It's the Black Damnation," I uttered in disbelief. This infamous ship had vanished in these waters 3 moons past, along with all her wretched crew. Yet here she was, returned like an omen of ill fate. As we watched mutely, she sailed directly into the swirling vortex and was swallowed by the ravenous abyss. When the gale winds swept the fog aside, we beheld a grisly sight, a lone survivor adrift on a piece of wreckage. His eyes were crazed with terror and fixed on a weathered chest he clung to with a white-knuckled grip. Though exhausted, he fought with vigor against the pull of the whirlpool. My curiosity burned. What could be so precious in that chest for him to risk his life? Ordering Jasper to extend a tow line, we hauled the delirious fellow aboard. Little did I know I had just invited a world of trouble onto my ship. "Its curse dooms us all," the madman howled. I demanded an explanation, and thus came his bizarre tale. He was part of the Black Damnation's crew that had ventured to the cursed Black Church on the Isla de Jardín del Diablo. They sought a legendary treasure, the sacred arrows that bestowed miraculous power. But instead, they discovered an ancient prophecy etched inside the church, foretelling doom for any who entered after the 12th day of the 12th month of the 12th year. Having descended into madness, the crew turned on each other, fighting to the death over the chest containing the prophecy. In his raving state, the lone survivor tried to hurl the chest into the abyss to end its supposed curse. I grappled him for it and found, along with the prophecy, an ornate dagger inscribed with occult symbols. What foul mischief had these men unleashed? As we struggled, the Midnight Raven drifted perilously close to the whirlpool's gaping maw. I had no choice but to let the madman cast himself and the chest into the swirling vortex. The ship soon answered to her helm again, as fortune seemed to turn in our favor. Yet as the chest sank into dark oblivion, I couldn't escape the feeling that we were now locked on some disastrous course. The survivor's wild prophecy haunted me, for he claimed the sacred treasure in the Black Church was no mere arrows. It was the mantle of Elijah, imbued with the lost miracles of the prophets. Elijah, the prophet of old who never died, but was carried to heaven in a whirlwind. Could the mantle be real, or the ravings of a cursed and shattered mind? I knew not what to believe. My contemplations were interrupted by Jasper's cry. A ghostly galley emerged from the mist directly in our path. A treacherous reef lurked just beneath the surface, ready to rip out our keel. I spun the wheel with all my might, narrowly steering us clear of both hazards. As the galley faded into the fog, I glimpsed her tattered black sails. A green fire flickered in her stern lanterns, casting an emerald glow on the figures working her deck. Jasper crossed himself at the hellish sight. By the mark on her prow, I identified our narrow escape. The Midnight Raven herself, my former ship I had lost to demons or worse. Yet she appeared not a day older, still in her prime. Her presence here after so long could only mean ill will. "St. Elmo's fire dances in her rigging, Captain," Jasper exclaimed, pointing to the spectral blue flames licking her masts. "She sails straight to the mouth of hell." He may have been right. I still remembered the night I lost the Raven and barely escaped with my life. The screams of anguish from my crew as that strange green fire consumed them, and the high, cold laughter that haunts my nightmares to this very day. But this was no time for phantoms of the past. I ordered the sails trimmed to take full advantage of the swift winds filling our canvas. Like a hunter's arrow, we flew over the seas. Yet when the fog parted again, there off the starboard bow I beheld the Raven closing in. She seemed to glide over the water at an impossible speed, her tattered sails billowing full against the wind. The green witchfire now bathed her deck as she rapidly gained upon us. I stared dumbfounded at this supernatural display of speed. Real or apparition, I had no wish to linger here and learn her intentions. Fate intervened as a chance ball of lightning split the main mast of the Raven squarely in two. The diversion gave us time to turn hard to port, away from the deadly phantom ship. As she receded astern, I saw shadowy figures shaking their fists in rage and heard the chilling laughter echoing again. The rest of our voyage was thankfully uneventful, but a tangible sense of dread clung to my heart. First the cursed prophecy, then the midnight Raven, risen from the depths. My mind returned to the madman's words about the Lost Mantle of Elijah. Something evil was awakening in this world, forces that could threaten the natural order of things, if that fabled mantle truly existed. I knew not what the days ahead held, only that I seemed fated to play some role in the dark events unfolding around me. The seas which were my home had become strange and treacherous. Little did I realize then that wild forces were converging on the remote Black Church, so aptly named, or that I would soon cross paths with the notorious pirate king called Pilate, who some say is the prophet Elijah returned, locked in an epic struggle with the sinister sorcerer Malik. Their battleground, the mystical mantle that could shift the very balance between darkness and light. So concludes the strange events that set me on an adventure I could never have fathomed. I, Baxter, a simple, wayward pirate looking only to live free and die young. Yet death already stalked me, as you will hear, for forces were moving that could bring about the end of days, or unlock the path to redemption if the mantle of Elijah could be reclaimed from the realm of shadow and legend.